I'm back home after being gone for almost 2 years. Come here, come here. Say hello to my dog. If it would focus. Fun fact, he doesn't like being up this high. It's really scary for him. He's also bald. Let's go. I'm in a great mood, but I haven't made a video in so long. Today, I want to talk about financial literacy. And I'm not going to go into my background on how I never really had money. And I still don't really have money. It's something that people don't really talk about. It's not taught in school. I did go to college, but I never finished. I dropped out like immediately. And people don't talk about that. There's a lot of help on how to get free money, but there isn't help on how to basically create money and have money work for you. This is the #1 book right here, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. The camera will focus on that. So I'm on page 79. Got my bookmark right here. So I haven't read the entire book, okay? And I have 9, let's say not lessons, 9 things I've learned so far. So I have right here in my notes, book, right? Okay. During the information age, imagination is most powerful. While others seek and look for a job, some create products, platforms, and apps that change the world, and they don't struggle financially. While those who seek a job have a hard time finding them. Page 51. Imagination is most powerful. That's the point right there, right? That's the whole thing. There's more, but that's the key takeaway. During the age of the internet, during the information age, imagination is most powerful. And when I read this, I was like, oh my God, amazing. Because I'm a very creative person. There's stuff like astrology that exists, right? That it's like, no matter how you read it, like if it's your birthday's on this month or that month, you'll read stuff and like, of course, you're going to be like, oh yeah, that applies to me. Because it applies to everyone, of course, right? So it's like imagination is most powerful. There are people who are more creative than other people. That's just like how it is, right? Everyone has imagination, yes, but some people, they see themselves as more of a creative person, type of person, right? And I see myself as one of those people. I always have. There's so many factors, there's so much life story that I can go into. Like, I grew up an only child, no friends. Like, I had to use my imagination, is what I'm trying to tell you. I started YouTube at 9 or 10 years old.
Hey, what's up YouTube? This is Animal Care 108, and today I'll be showing you how to keep betas in the community fish tank with guppies.
I just want you to understand that if you're watching this and you don't believe me, I will, at the end of the video, I'll prove that point, right? That's how young I was when I was like, I wanted to like do this like YouTube stuff. I always had a creative side to me, and that's how I feel. So during the information age, imagination is most powerful. While others look for a job, some create products, platforms, and apps that will change the world, and they don't struggle. Now, when he says they don't struggle financially. While those who seek a job have a hard time finding them. So that made a lot of sense to me, right? There's people creating things. Yes, some of them are engineers and software developers, and they get paid very well. And there is competition for everything, but when you compare apples and oranges, the people who are using their imagination the most are getting rewarded the most. And it's still true today, right? Okay, next, how to teach something that's boring. Make it more simple. Genius. I recently tried learning day trading because my mind's only thinking money. Money, 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 not use my imagination. Day trading works, right? Day trading, it works. I'm gonna grab my notebook. Is it this one? Yep, okay, so I only have 3 pages. Oh, damn. That's what happens when I don't look at the camera at all. You know what? Instead of moving my camera, why don't I just close the blinds? It's just so much sun. So day trading, right? I was only thinking about money, and I have my it works, right? I was learning day trading, and I was learning the chart, right? And that's all I have. If you put in work, like I said in the beginning of the video, you will get better. But there's another key ingredient that I learned for success: passion. And just day trading itself, like having to know what's going on around in the world. I know it sounds horrible to say this, but it's just not at the top of my priority, like learning about the news and all that stuff. I'm not saying you shouldn't look at the news. Like, it's important to have some idea of what's going around in the world. In this book, there's a cone of learning, right? That cone of learning tells you the most effective ways of learning. It talks about the most effective and the least effective ways of learning, okay? Doing something, taking the action is way more effective. So if you want to learn day trading, essentially it's telling you, like, by actually day trading, you would learn quicker, right? Than just watching a video and not using that information. But like, you obtain information and then you do the action. But teaching is also like up there, right? So what I would do is, as I was learning day trading, right, I would write this down, make it very simple, right? I would write these charts right here. This is a chart, right? You might have heard of candlesticks. You have your chart, and then you have you can zoom in, and this is what that looks like, the candlestick, and then you have the wicks. So I would draw this on a blank notebook, right? On a blank piece of paper. I would draw it and teach it to my father. I would do that. I did that for like 3 days in a row. I taught him everything I learned, and that way it's like really stuck in my head. But there wasn't really, it was cool, but there wasn't a passion, because it felt like something that I had a little bit too little control over. But yeah, just the passion I just didn't think was there. Maybe one day. Yeah, so you make it more simple by just using pictures. Makes so much sense, right? You want to teach something that's boring, make it simple by using pictures. A video is just a bunch of pictures, right? Sometimes adults don't like when they make it simple, or when unlearning is required. So this book is also telling you, when you want to learn about financial literacy and you tell people it's simple, which it is, it requires unlearning, and that's something that sometimes people who are, already thinking a certain way, they're not going to want to do that. It just is what it is, right? You're not going to want to unlearn something. If I told you have to do it this way, it's like, or like, let's say you bench press a certain way, and I tell you, now you have to do it this way. This is the way you have to do it for it to count. You have to unlearn like what you learned. It's already going to be tougher than someone who's younger, who has a more open mind. If you want to be rich, you've got to read and understand numbers. That one, that's just, you might be like, you didn't know this? No, I didn't know this, that you have to understand numbers. It's not something I ever thought about. A person can be highly educated, professional, successful, and financially illiterate. These people often work harder than they need to because they learn how to work hard, but not how to have their money work hard for them. This is one of the quotes that when I read this, I was just like, I was in the subway. I was taking the subway and I was reading this because I like to read when I have nothing else I can do. I should get in the habit of reading the book even when I have other stuff I could do. Because that book, anyways, I was in the subway, so there's time to kill. So I whipped out the book. A person that can be educated, they work harder than they need to because they learned how to work hard, but not how to have their money work hard for them. They know how to work hard and get money, but they don't know how to make their money work for them. When I read that, I was like, that's genius. Like, I never thought about that. It was just mind-blowing. Me as a climber, when you get into rock climbing, I don't know at what point, but at a certain point, if you start climbing enough, you start to see like things that you can climb, right? It won't happen day one, it might not happen day two, but like your world literally starts to change. Like, you drive by and there's like a rock and like on the highway or something, and like you'll pull over and you'll go check it out. Or you'll see like something that you'll tell like your other climbing person, like, hey, look at that, like we could probably climb that, right? That just happens. And so now that I'm reading this and I'm learning a little bit about financial literacy, it's like I have my eyes opened to another world. Japanese were aware of 3 powers: the power of the sword, the jewel, and the mirror. The power of the mirror represents the power that was most treasured of the three. You must use the power of the mirror instead of power of the money that controls you. So what's the power of the mirror? What does that mean? You have to be the best you before the money. That's what comes first. If you're not learning, working on your mind, if you're not learning and working on your mind, think about it. People win the lottery. I made a video on hope and why I don't believe in hope. And in that video, I talk about why the lottery is a scam and why you shouldn't play the lottery. Even if you win the money, like, you just shouldn't play the lottery. Yes, one person maybe watching this video may win the lottery. It's completely possible, but like, you don't want to live off of a possibility. You want to live off of like what I can control and what I know I can make happen. And hope is just like, hope is a scam in general. Just hoping for anything to happen, like make it happen. When people win the lottery, right, they get like $1 million, $2 million, $500,000, whatever the amount is. And there's examples time and time again. And I knew this. Well, actually, no. The book says this, but I knew that the lottery was a scam before reading the book. But the book says that people win the lottery. He uses this as an example, and people lose all their money. So how could that be? That's why in this saying, I don't know if it's a real saying, but the Japanese say that the power of the mirror, looking at yourself in the mirror, I have a mirror over there. Looking yourself in the mirror is the most powerful thing. Fix yourself first, then the money, and then the sword, right? The jewel and the sword. Because if you give all this money to a person who didn't work on the other things, they won't know how to invest. If they don't have financial literacy, they usually, according to this book, according to common sense, if you give people more money, their spendings will just go up. They won't be creating more cash flow. So think about it. If this is $100 and your expenses are $50, you're like 50% living expenses, right? Like all your expenses is $50. That's actually not that bad because you're saving double your income. But let's say you get $500, but now you're spending $250. So you're the same. So you'll lose the same amount as the other person who only had 50. So people get more money. They start to buy nicer things instead of creating more money. That's like the key difference. They're not using that money to get more money, so they're better off. They're using that money and just buying more things. That's where financial literacy is so important. So you can understand that you can't just be, you have to have your money work for you. That's an eye-opening thing. And one other thing is I think it's in here. Yeah, it is in here. Okay, next. It is said that the fear of public speaking is a fear greater than death for most people. According to psychiatrists, the fear of public speaking is caused by the fear of ostracism, the fear of standing out, and the fear of criticism, the fear of ridicule, and the fear of being outcast. This fear prevents most people from seeking new ways to solve problems. So instead of people using their imagination, their creativity, which we know is the most powerful way to actually get rich and wealthy in this day and age, if you want financial literacy, you must use your imagination. If you want, well, not if you want financial literacy. You need to know about financial literacy. And you need to use your imagination. Those are two powerful combinations. But people fear speaking, public speaking, having different opinions than other people. They fear being different. They fear being different, and that's a big issue. Being unique is rewarded. In order to be unique, you have to be different. You can't be doing the same thing everyone else is doing. So like, it's okay to be the same, but when you start doing something different, when you start trying to figure out different ways of doing things, that's when you might have a chance at something working for you. Mutual funds are safe. Question that. Look into it. I haven't looked into it yet. And then there's rule number 1. So technically I've gone over 10 things. Rule number 1, know the difference between assets and liabilities. And buy assets. Because that's what the rich do. They buy assets. So if you don't know what an asset is, it's something that puts money into your pocket in simple terms. A liability is something that takes money away from you. Now, we all have liabilities. You have to buy things in this world. The only issue is that when a lot of people, when they get more money, they don't really buy more assets, they just spend more. They'll put some money into like a 401k, they'll do stuff like that. High interest savings account, which is all fine, but there's better ways that your money could work for you, in my opinion. For example, there's better ways. Like, I actually think investing in yourself, and that is very broad, I know, but I think investing in yourself is a better way, because your value goes up, and that can be actually through buying a course. You could buy a course that could open your eyes. You could learn a skill. Just investing in yourself, whatever way that means, right? I think that's important too. Like, I can't explain it much better than that. So this is my first video where I've ever talked really about money. And now that I've made all the points that I learned from the book, which was, I guess it was 10. So those 10 things I learned from the Rich Dad, Poor Dad book, I can talk a little bit more about my life and where I'm at. So during those 2 years, I've lost 7,000 and then 4,000. So 8,000, I've lost $15,000 during those 2 years. So I'm gonna show you how much I have right now. It's at 19. Oh, okay. Is it gonna focus? If I go away, yeah, there we go. I have to be out of because this camera is good at finding my eye, and it knows to focus on me and see, so if I hide my eye, then it focuses on this. So this is my Robinhood account, right? So the past month I'm down, see, $2,000. So okay, so when I came back from Japan, if you know, I've been in Japan, I had $23,000, just shy under that. And then I got 24 and a half. So I was close to getting 25,000 off of day trading. But then I put all my money in crypto at the wrong time. And then I went down, and in crypto, and that's because something happened in the news. Again, like, you gotta pick your poison, right? Like, I was learning the skill, but I just don't really like learning about the news because it's like unpredictable. You have to basically, it feels like I'm stuck to my phone. I want to be able to be away from my phone, but if you want to do anything stocks, what happens in the world matters. And that's the day XRP, this crypto was XRP, went from $3 to $2. Now, I didn't buy it exactly at 3, and it didn't go down exactly to 2. I know it did. It went, I think, to 198. It went down more than $1. So if you have your life savings in that's what, like a 40% drop. So 30% drop. Doesn't seem like a lot, but I had 23 grand in there, and I saw my 23 grand turn into like 10 grand. Right? And I had a strategy. I'm like, if this happens, like, I knew it could happen. I didn't watch the news. I didn't think it was going to happen that day. And I said, if that happens, I won't sell, because you lose when you sell. From what I was learning, I'm just going to hold. It'll go back up eventually. We're in the age of crypto. It'll go back up. But when you see your money going down, it's hard not to sell. But when you sell, you're at a loss. That's the emotion that you need to have with day trading. You actually have to have a strong mindset. So you do have to have a strong mentality and stick to your rules that you learn. But then you also need to know what's going on in the world with the news. And that's not what I was doing. I wasn't well aware of what's going on. So that was not that long ago. That was like a couple days ago. And it went from $2 to $2.50. So once it hits 3, I'll be break even, right? When it hits $3, I'll be at break even. So, I mean, currently I have 19,000 in the stock market. It's not a stock, in my Robinhood account. And then I have 1,000 in so I have 20 grand in total. I have 20 grand to my name. But technically, I know it's gonna go back up. Like, I started with 23K, and I was almost at 25K. But it's not like it's just call it 20, right? So I'm better off than I was, because I was always living like pretty much paycheck to paycheck. But this is without like my own like rent, without my own place. Like, this was just like my expenses for like how my life was set up. It was just an expensive life, not because I was buying all these luxury things, but I did have that need to like buy things that I never use. It was just like that because I didn't have financial literacy, right? But some of the things I didn't make an exception for. That's where the passion comes in for, like climbing. Climbing was expensive, not because it has to be, but now it's actually getting, I would say it's getting expensive to rock climb. But not because it has to be, but because, well, not because it was back then, just because for me, I had a passion and I lived nowhere near this place. So I lived an hour away. So I was in an hour away, like through highway, like not like through traffic. Like I was spending a shit ton of money, of my part-time job on gas, the membership, and then going outdoor climbing like was so expensive too, because I was driving even further. I was driving like 2-3 hours to go outdoor climbing. Like it was very expensive, the driving, and then paying tolls. I forgot about that, tolls. See, I'm like, where else did the money come from? Like tolls, and I got a bunch of tickets. And you're like, why do you get tickets? I mean, I was young when I got into climbing. I didn't know any better. But then I realized, right, it's about, yeah, you want to save more than you're spending, but it's about what you do with that money. That's the difference, because I could give that same amount of money to someone else and they could triple it, double it, quadruple it, just because they understand assets to buy, right? And this is a eye-opening moment for me, like learning about this stuff. So yeah, that's the whole video. I don't know if it made much sense. Anyways, let's do a little room tour, just because. Why not, right? Just why not? This is right, my parents' house. All right, so mirror. This is me. So I have one closet, books, my first camera. If these are pretty cool. These have a camera. These are glasses with a camera. My wallets. I got my shit organized here. This is a nice wooden table my parents built me. My MacBook. The book, water, laundry. That's laundry. And this is my tripod. The tripod. It's very cool. This tripod right here. This is from Target, all right? This tripod is from Target, and this is the one I use. There we go. This is a tripod that I use, right? It's $30, I believe. $35, so $40 with tax, right? It's a great tripod. That's my bed. Yes, this is my bed, my one bed sheet. Yeah, I just put this down every night. Yeah, I don't even have whatever that thing is called that your bed goes under. This is my bed, right? Like, what's it called? There's a word for it. I got a scale down there. There's a word for that. Well, let me put this back. You know what I'm talking about, like the thing that you put a bed on, like a bed frame. Bed frame, is that what it is? I've never had a bed frame. Like, so this is like, I guess, my office for YouTube videos. Yeah, I'm back from Japan, back home with my family, back with my dog, and I like expressing my creativity, so I'm gonna keep doing that. I'm gonna keep breaking down things that I've learned. 35 minutes, way too long. So that's the video. Hope you enjoyed. I'm back home after being gone for almost 2 years. Just talk normally. I'm back home after being gone. Yeah. See, just talk normally. Okay. It's a little echoey in here, is it? A little bit?